Well, thanks everyone for joining us for today's marketing meetup with the Content Fresh team. Today, I'm excited to have our Director of Innovation and Technology, Orlando Gramani, here to show us all the ins and outs of natural SEO.
Thanks, Deb.
Take it from here.
Today, what I want to talk about is SEO, kind of what it is, what it means in 2026. And then more specifically, I want to talk about how to go about doing keyword research using only Google search as a free and effective tool to do keyword research, to find search keywords and search terms to put in your content so that it ranks and performs well in search results. So what are you going to learn today? I'm hoping by the end of the session, what you'll learn how to do is build a search-driven blog post without using expensive tools. A lot of professional SEOs, they use different professional tools like SEMrush and Ahrefs, which can get pretty pricey. And unless you're handling multiple websites, you can get just as much value from using something like Google search and derive pretty much the same results. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on today, is how to do that keyword research, again, using those free Google search tools that Google provides. We're going to be talking about what SEO means in 2026. Again, how to do that, what keyword research is, how to go about it, and why it matters. We're going to find real search demand using only Google search. And then we're going to learn how to use AI to turn those ideas, that content that we find, into a high-performing search-driven blog post. So what is SEO? SEO stands for search engine optimization, and it is the process that we use to improve our website so that it outranks our competitors when people type in search terms for a service that you provide or an organization that you promote. What SEO means in 2026 is what it has meant for a while now, but it is based on three primary pillars. The first one is that technical foundation, and it's all that stuff behind the scenes that you don't see, that the user doesn't see, but that the user benefits from. If someone's coming to your website and your site loads fast, it's mobile friendly, it's laid out well, content is easy to find, that's the technical, you have a strong, solid technical foundation for your website, and that's the first pillar taken care of. Then you need to have authority and trust. So the content on your website has to be authoritative and trustworthy. So you have to be the authority on a given topic or a given service and have that content be trustworthy so that people trust you to link back to you, to link back to your website as content that is site-worthy. You want to be trustworthy in the sense that if you have a service-based business, you're getting a lot of reviews on your Google business profile. So it shows that you have that consistent expertise. So you gain, again, that authority and that trust. And then the third pillar is what I'm going to be focusing on today is around content and search intent. So you want to make sure that your website has content that meets search intent and has those keywords in the content placed strategically in a way that's helpful and relevant to the target audience. I would say that what this particular pillar means today in 2026 is that with AI, that pillar becomes so much easier to achieve because you can write a lot of great and helpful content really fast, really easily using AI. So it really is just kind of a superpower that you get with that keyword research that you do. Does anyone have any questions so far about what SEO is or what it means?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I really appreciate this. This is really good information. How often do you think a website should be updated?
Updated in terms of content?
Yes. Is there a right time or amount of content to update, or?
My rule of thumb is at least once a month. You want to be publishing some new piece of content on your website at least once a month, or making updates as necessary. That one as often as possible, but you want to make sure that your website has new, relevant, helpful content around your service or your organization or whatever the case may be that is helpful to the reader and meets that search demand. But at the very least, once a month is what I generally recommend.
Thank you.
One more thing I want to say about SEO is that it is an investment. It is something where you plant the seeds and you watch it grow, but it takes time for those seeds to bloom and to start showing those results. But when it works, it really works. If you've laid out that foundation really well and you've stuck to those 3 pillars of SEO, that pays dividends. So what I want to show you here is just a chart looking at website traffic from exclusively Google search results for one of our clients over the last 12 months compared to the previous period. So that darker blue line is the last 12 months, and that lighter blue line is the previous 12 months before then. So what we're seeing here is that at the beginning of that 12-month period, it kind of looked like we weren't making much headway. There wasn't much movement in terms of traffic, but all throughout that time, we were being consistent with our posting. We were posting at least twice a month. We were doing that keyword research, resulting in actual search terms being created around search terms that have volume and interest. So we were creating that content that people were actually searching for. So all during that time, we were laying that groundwork that led to the last 3 to 6 months, which we've just seen just a total explosion in traffic toward our client's website. And it's all because of that foundation that we built earlier on in the year. And it speaks to the fact that SEO is an investment, but it does pay dividends in the long term. So you have to, again, create that quality content and then be a little bit patient. So what is keyword research? Keyword research is the process of finding out what people are actually searching for, what exact phrases people are searching for, those exact phrases that people type into Google. It's a process of finding out what those phrases are so we can include those phrases and those search keywords in our content on our website. It's a process of discovering specific questions that people have around a particular topic. If you are able to answer the questions, those specific questions that people have on your website, then people are going to click on your website and read the answers there. Finally, we want to look at, we want to see what problems people need solving. If you're a painting company, you're looking for painting services. If you're a plumbing company, someone is looking for plumbing services. Either way, you're going to be solving a problem for that individual searching for your service. So we want to roll that up into the keyword research and look for what problems we solve. I want to do a live demo here about how to go about using those free tools I mentioned, in particular Google search. We're going to use Google autocomplete to look for keywords related to how to paint kitchen cabinets. I want to write a blog post about how to paint kitchen cabinets, and I want to do some keyword research around this topic idea that I had. The first thing we're going to do is use Google autocomplete. So when you're typing in Google search, Google will try to guess the next word or the entire phrase that you're searching for. So those suggestions are related searches that people are typing into Google in relation to this main search. Those are keywords that people are searching for that have search volume. So we want to include some of those keywords in our own content for our blog post that we're writing. Over on to the search results, we're going to look at the people also ask section, which is these are the actual questions that people have asked about this search term. These are very specific questions, and you'll see that those are formatted in a very specific way. So we want to grab those and answer those questions in our content and provide that answer for those individuals. Finally, we're going to look at related searches, which are, again, searches related. These are additional searches related to that primary search that we did, how to paint kitchen cabinets. So we're going to try to see if there's some additional keywords there for related searches, again, to include in our content. And then finally, we're going to use all of that keyword research, and we're going to write a blog post for how to paint kitchen cabinets using AI. I like to use Google Incognito whenever I do a keyword research. I don't want my previous personal keyword history to influence the results that I get. So, and the way to do that is by going incognito, so you can get sort of a clean search results for whatever you're searching for. So, like I said, we're going to be searching for how to paint kitchen cabinets. So again, like I said, Google already knows what I'm going to be typing in. It knew it at how to paint K. Like, it knew that I'm searching for how to paint kitchen cabinets. So these next results are additional results that people searched related to how to paint kitchen cabinets. So in addition to, this primary keyword, how to paint kitchen cabinets, these are going to be some additional keywords, some additional search terms that people are typing into Google, people that they're looking for content around these keywords to solve their problem, to answer their questions. So I want to try and include as much as of these keywords into my content, include them into my content, so that my website also ranks for those additional keywords that I'm finding here. So, and again, these are laid out in descending sort. So the ones with more search volume are higher up at the top, and we want to include them in, and again, we want to include them in our blog content because we can grab a share of that volume if we create content around these keywords. So I'm going to grab how to paint kitchen cabinets. I'm going to start a list of just some of these keywords that I'm finding in Google search results. So I want to grab how to paint kitchen cabinets. That's my primary keyword. I'm going to do how to paint kitchen cabinets without sanding. That might be important. I want to do how to paint kitchen cabinets like a pro. That's a good one. That's a great keyword to include in my content about how to paint kitchen cabinets. How to paint kitchen cabinets that are already painted. This might be a question that someone has and we want to answer it. How to paint kitchen cabinets DIY. This also looks very important. So I just grabbed a handful of keywords there around how to paint kitchen cabinets. I can grab more how to paint kitchen cabinets professionally to look professional. I can grab so many more of these, and I encourage you to do that. But for the purposes of this demo, I want to sort of move things along here. But you could continue down this list and find even more keywords that are relevant to include in your content. But I'm just going to move on to what comes up after I hit search for how to paint kitchen cabinets. So these are the search results for that particular keyword. At the top here, you've got your AI overview, you've got a few videos, and then over here in the people also ask, this is very specific questions that people ask when they type in relation to how to paint kitchen cabinets. These are those specific questions that they have about painting kitchen cabinets. So when you expand them, you see that it has a specific answer, either from AI or it's a related video, but Google includes all of this information here for this answer, which it gleans from other website. And some of these are actually just links out to the website that they're coming from. So there are links out to those websites. But here, and the people also ask questions, this is where I want to grab some of these additional questions and answer those questions specifically. So this first one, can I just paint over my kitchen cabinet? So this is probably a good one to have. I'm going to make a different section here. What I wish I knew before painting cabinets. What is the easiest way to paint kitchen cabinets? What are common cabinet painting problems? This is another good question to include. So I've got a list of related search terms, and I've got a list of questions. And then at the very bottom here, this is, again, those related search queries. So people also search for painting kitchen cabinets for beginners. This is probably an important keyword to include in my blog post. How to paint kitchen cabinets without removing them. This is another good one to include. Those are the three primary places that I look at when I'm doing keyword research using Google Auto Search. And this, again, look at how many keywords and questions we've been able to find that will go into our content using those specific keywords, those specific search terms that people are typing into Google. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this over to ChatGPT, and I'm going to grab this prompt that says, you are an SEO genius and expert blog content writer for so if I'm writing how to paint kitchen cabinets, I'm probably a local painting company. So I put in that industry or service there. Please write a blog post about this topic, which is going to be how to paint kitchen cabinets. The goal of the content is to educate homeowners and provide a step-by-step process for how to paint their kitchen cabinets. So I'm just giving the AI as much context as I can, not only what their role is, but also what the goal of the content is and what I expect from this content that they're going to write for me, so that it is helpful and relevant to that end user. This prompt is built around writing something that is for the user, not for another robot to read. So the target audience is, my target audience is going to be homeowners. The primary keyword to the blog post should be optimized for is how to paint kitchen cabinets, but also incorporate and optimize for the following secondary keywords. And these are going to be all those other keywords that we wrote down earlier. I'm going to include those in here. and also include helpful answers to these questions. So I want to grab all of these people also ask questions and include them here. So it's going to now write a blog post that is optimized for SEO using those specific search keywords that we found doing keyword research and those specific questions. It's going to answer those specific questions that people are also searching for in relation to that search term. And it's going to write a super helpful, relevant blog post for how to paint kitchen cabinets. I like to put this in Canvas so that I can edit it. So we're off to the races, and it's writing that blog content for me. And when it's done, it's being super detailed. So it's going literally into a step-by-step process: clean the cabinets, remove hardware, literally the step-by-step process that I asked for. It's answering how to paint kitchen cabinets without sanding. So it's including those keywords that we found, how to paint kitchen cabinets that are already painted. Again, those keywords that we found. It wrote that full blog post for me exactly. It included everything that I wanted it to include. I now have a highly relevant, very helpful, high quality content based on just a few minutes of keyword research and finding those keywords and search terms that people are actually searching for, and putting that into a blog content that will rank. And I just repeat that process over and over again for every blog post idea that I have. At least once a month, you want to be doing something like this. As you can see, it takes no time at all. It's very efficient. It's very effective. And that's all I had. Does anybody have any questions about the whole process in general, how to use AI, anything like that?
Orlando, so
Yeah.
this is an interesting strategy of answering this question for a professional painting company that actually does this service. And so explain your philosophy on answering the question of this for a company that actually wants to do it for the homeowner.
So this content, again, it goes back to that authority and trust. So the way you build that authority and trust is by creating content that positions you as the expert on a particular topic. So if you're a local painting company or whatever service company, organization, whatever you are, you want to be seen as the authority on that topic. If I run into a painting company and they've got pictures and their website looks nice and everything, and I run into another painting company and they have a library of content around how someone can go about painting their own home, not even hiring them, I'm probably going to trust and establish a higher sense of authority of that website, and probably hire that website or hire that business because of that library of content that is, in my mind, established them as the authority and more trustworthy painting company in the area. I'm sorry?
They obviously know what they're doing since they've got all this content, but then also have pointed out all the reasons why you wouldn't want to do it yourself.
Right. Yes, exactly. This is content that brings people into your website, makes your website more discoverable. And in that content, you guide that person to your services as the solution to, hey, by the way, if you don't want to paint your kitchen cabinets yourself, because after reading this, you realize that it takes a lot of work, just hire us to do it. Fill out this form, like you guide them to, that form that they fill out to get a quote, or you capture that lead somehow. But that is the purpose of this content. It's twofold. It's not just to establish that authority and trust, but it's also a top of the funnel piece of content that brings people in, and then your website converts them into a customer. But you have to bring them in through those related searches, and then again, building that authority and trust through this content.
I think that's brilliant, and it does look like it has worked for the company you had showcased in your statistics, just showing that these kind of articles really can drive the traffic to your site. Definitely. That's great. What about AI and the AI overview these days?
They're very useful. At the end of the day, Google wants to be a useful tool. There is evidence that it is taking traffic away from search results, but those AI overviews are still linking to that original content, which you want to be cited by the AI overview and that original content, because there are still clicks happening on those links that are being cited by the AI overview. So you still want to be the website that answers those questions and satisfies those search terms and keywords with your content, because your content is going to be included in those AI overviews, and you want those links out to your website. If AI overviews are citing you over your competitor, again, that goes back to that authority and trust that you can then establish through that content.
I think it makes it a case, even just the way we saw you searching live on the internet, just showing how powerful it can be if you're one of those companies mentioned. And you're not going to be mentioned at all if you haven't been creating your blog content.
Right.
That wraps up another edition of our marketing meetup. Thank you so much. See you all next time.